Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are recapping the deeply moving drama film, I Am David. The year is 1952. 12-year-old David has spent his entire conscious life trapped inside a brutal Bulgarian labor camp. To him, the world consists of nothing but barbed wire, heavy stones, and exhausted people. But everything changes when another inmate named Johannes gives David a dangerous mission. He commands the boy to escape the camp, make his way to Denmark, and deliver a highly important sealed letter to a specific person. Following Johannes's precise instructions, the boy stealthily navigates between the dark barracks until he reaches the electrified wire fence. Once the power signal drops, David has a mere 30 seconds before the deadly current surges back on. By some miracle, he manages to scramble through the obstacle just as guards begin shouting from the watchtower. Luckily, they are only arguing among themselves. At the edge of a nearby field, David finds a hidden bag containing soap, a folding knife, and a compass. His instructions are clear: travel only by night and head strictly south until he reaches the Greek city of Thessaloniki. Seeking cover, the boy hitches a ride in the back of a cargo truck, where he spots two other escapees trying to flee this socialist paradise. Looking at them, David flashes back to his agonizing daily routine of breaking rocks in the camp quarry. Suddenly, the truck screeches to a halt. Soldiers are conducting a search. As the two men are violently dragged out, David jumps from the truck and rolls down a steep hill, forced to rely on his own 2 feet once again. The Greek border is close, but it is heavily fortified. To breach the final fence, David has to dig a tunnel under the wire. The border guards spot the intruder, but they aren't fast enough to catch him. Reaching Thessaloniki at dawn, David sneaks onto a ship bound for Italy by climbing a rope and hiding deep inside the cargo hold. In the dead of night, he strikes a match to look at the envelope containing the mysterious, vital message. Whenever he falls asleep, he is haunted by the faded memory of his mother's face, whom he hasn't seen since he was a toddler. In his dreams, Johannes appears to comfort him, promising that the bad people won't find him. David asks, "But what am I looking for? What will I find in Denmark?" Johannes answers with one word: freedom. The next morning, an Italian sailor discovers David in the hold. Having lived alongside prisoners from all over Europe, David understands the man's words. The clever boy barters for the sailor's silence by offering his folding knife. To ensure he goes unnoticed, Roberto lowers the boy into the water near the harbor under the cover of night. David can only pray that the current carries him to the shore, just as Roberto promised. Once again, luck is on his side. Now he must rely solely on his compass and head north toward Denmark. Yet, despite being miles away from the camp, a crushing anxiety never leaves him. He remembers that his parents were sent to the camp for fighting against the communist regime in Bulgaria. The conditions were so unbearable that he wanted to give up on life. But Johannes convinced him that a completely different world existed outside those walls. Italy feels beautiful, filled with the aroma of fresh pastries, but David has no money. A kind baker promises the boy a free loaf of bread if he can just smile. The baker, named Antonio, prays to Saint Elizabeth, the patron of those in need, and hands David a holy card. Unfortunately, Antonio's kindness turns into a trap. He calls 2 police officers to the bakery to question the boy. Though the baker meant well, it terrifies David, sending him into a blind panic. He sprints into the woods, trips, rolls down a hill, and crashes into a tree. To make matters worse, his compass shatters. Hungry and lost, the boy prays to Saint Elizabeth for guidance. Gathering his strength, David climbs to the top of a tall tree and spots an open field ahead. He remembers the camp rule: never draw attention to yourself. If you are seen, blend into the crowd. Still wondering how to force a smile, David accidentally wanders into a private vineyard and gets chased by a guard dog. However, the owner isn't angry. Instead, she hands David a basket of wine to deliver to a neighboring farm and pays him 2 liras. The farm is packed with cars for a celebration. While looking at the abundance of food, David picks up a shard of a broken mirror, desperately practicing how to smile so he can look normal. Later, David meets an American couple whose car has run out of gas. He offers to fetch fuel from a service station on a moped, earning a generous stack of cash that finally allows him to buy a proper meal. Continuing his journey, David passes a luxurious mansion where he is suddenly attacked by an entitled boy named Carlo, who accuses him of being a thief. The bully tries to steal David's letter, but David fights him off. While resting, David looks at the piece of camp soap he still carries, but throws it away in a fit of rage. The memory of how he got it flashes back. David was the one who stole the soap from the chief guard's office, but it was Johannes who took the blame during a random inspection to save his young friend. Johannes was executed on the spot. David's painful memories are cut short by a scream for help. A nearby barn is on fire, and a teenage girl is trapped inside the smoke with her hands tied. A childhood game gone horribly wrong. David bravely rushes into the flames, saves the girl, and knocks out from smoke inhalation. He wakes up in a clean, luxurious bed. The girl, Maria, thanks her savior, realizing she could have died. For the first time in years, a genuine smile appears on David's face. Maria's mother invites David to stay for a few days. David has never experienced such luxury. At a lavish family dinner, he sits next to Maria, completely lost on how to use a knife and fork. Looking at this warm, loving family, David realizes how sheltered Maria is from the cruelties of the world. Later, in the family library, Maria shows David a globe. He learns that 2 whole countries, Switzerland and Austria, still separate him from Denmark. When Maria's parents question him, David lies, claiming he escaped from a traveling circus. The father, Giovanni, instantly sees through the lie and steps closer. Terrified of a beating, the only reaction he knew from the camp guards, David cowers. But Giovanni reassures him that he is safe here. That night, David decides he must move on. He leaves his prized St. Elizabeth card for Maria and hits the road north. Unfortunately, he gets caught in the middle of a violent clash between communist protesters and the police. An officer falsely accuses David of throwing a rock and locks him in a police van. For the first time since his escape, David is trapped. During the scuffle, the seal on his letter breaks. Inside, David finds no secret message, only his own official identity documents. Refusing to give up, he uses his clothing wrap to hook the door handle, escapes the van, and outruns the police in a narrow alley. In an incredible stroke of luck, David crosses paths with Roberto, the sailor who originally helped him. Roberto was kicked off his ship for stealing tomatoes and is now driving a truck. He offers David a lift as far as Milan. Later, by a picturesque lake, David meets an elderly woman named Sophie who is painting a landscape. She asks David to pose for a portrait. Sophie quickly notices that David's eyes are far too serious for a child, realizing he has endured immense trauma. Discovering that Sophie lives in Switzerland, David hitches a ride across the border with her. When they encounter border guards, Sophie cleverly lies, claiming David is her grandson and that she forgot his papers at home. She charms the guards, and they pass through smoothly. Sophie lives in a beautiful cottage surrounded by mountains. She feeds David a hearty meal and shows him a locket containing a photo of her late son, Peter, who passed away from pneumonia. For the first time in his life, David holds a cat, fascinated by its soft fur and purring. When David confesses he has no home, Sophie offers him a permanent place to stay, but the boy panics, begging her not to hand him over to them. Sophie comforts him, tucking him into bed, just like a mother would. The next day, Sophie encourages David to stop fearing the world and to start trusting people. Left alone to wander a local town, David steps into a church. A police officer enters right behind him, causing David's heart to drop. Remembering Sophie's advice, he bravely greets the officer instead of running. In that moment, the full truth of his escape flashes before his eyes. It wasn't Johannes who orchestrated the escape. It was the camp's chief guard. The guard had felt immense guilt over Johannes's execution, and because he saw David holding the stolen soap, he decided to save the boy's life, giving him a chance to see the world outside. David returns to the library and spots a book he had seen earlier. The book was written by a woman who lost her husband and son in Bulgaria, but escaped to Denmark with the help of a camp guard who was in love with her. Staring at the author's photograph, David recognizes his mother. He rushes to Sophie, tells her everything, and they head straight to the police station. Days later, David boards a plane to Denmark. As he takes off, he remembers Johannes and the guard who gave him his life back. At the airport in Denmark, a woman stands waiting. David walks up to her and says, "I am David." She embraces him, crying, "I know, David." What a beautifully heartbreaking journey of survival and hope. If this recap moved you, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for more incredible movie recaps. Let me know in the comments what you thought of David's incredible journey. See you in the next video.